Hey, welcome to the Steve Fusil Show. I am Steve Fusil, man. I am very excited to announce this guest that we've got here with us. I want to welcome Bruce Miller to the show. Bruce, welcome to the show, man. You got a great story. You got a ton of experience and knowledge that you can share with our guys, because part of what we're doing in this podcast is what? Bringing information to the folks that don't know it. So, folks, welcome Bruce Miller to the show, man. Bruce Miller of Bruce Miller Motors. Bruce, introduce yourself, man, if you would.
Steve, thank you for having me. It's nice meeting you in Dallas and about the podcast, and I'm glad to be on your show. 23 years in the automotive business. Started as a 21-year-old kid. Last couple of years, I broke away from the franchise model, which I had made it to the top in that model. I was a managing partner of 2 stores. We all aspired to get a piece of the pie, and I had got to that point in my life. As the pandemic was hitting, working for somebody, they had different opinions, and they let me go. And at that point, 41 years old, I said, man, I'm going to own my own thing. I'm gonna start from scratch. I'm gonna open me up an independent used car lot. I'm gonna stack my money, look for me some new car franchises, and so it's been 18 months that plan has been in place. I have 2 used car lots, and my one main used car lot, Miller Motors. I did 727 used cars last year. And brand new first year in business, I did 727. Average 62.
That's awesome, brother.
Yep. So
that's awesome.
Unique perspective, because I was in the franchise world, and now I'm in the independent world. So I kind of a little bit of a unique perspective.
Let's talk about that, man, because I'm in that space also, and I came from new car franchises, right? I mean, that's where I think most of us start. As a matter of fact, what's really funny, and you might have this same story, I don't know, man, but I used to meet old guys in the car business that you said like, oh, I work at Miller Motors, let's say, for example, right? Or Auto Source of Texas, or wherever it is that you're working. That's a fantastic place to work. And I used to think, man, what are you doing over there, man? Like, you got all this here, man. Look at the service drive, the free coffee. Look what we got here at this ginormous building and dealership, hustling, bustling commerce and business. And now as I'm an adult, and as I adulted through my career, I went, oh, that's why you work at one of those stores. It's a better living condition for the guys that know how to manage that, right?
Yeah, definitely. When I'm hiring people, that's the quality of life. We're not open to 9 o'clock at night. I ran stores, especially like Nissan stores. I ran a Nissan store that we didn't start selling cars to 8 p.m. and we were routinely there to midnight, like all during the summer. Like, we're working like 15 hours a day. We're waking up, have to be back at 8 o'clock. So in the independent world, it's not like that. You pretty much like working 9 to 5. You barely there past 6 or 7, unless you're super busy. Right. And everything gets done between the hours of 9 to 5. Yep.
Absolutely. When I first started in the independent space, I thought, how are these guys selling cars and making a living and closing at 6:30, 7 o'clock? And I'd have deals when I was a salesperson and starting out in those, those independent spaces. And the guys that I worked for were like, hey, you got a customer coming in here at 6:45. I saw, you put an appointment in. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get them here at 6:45. We'll be here till 8:30. That's normal. We close at 7. We'll be here till 9, right? You close at 9, you'll be there till midnight. And they were like, listen, Bubba, I love you. Like, we close at 7. Like, we're putting the key in the door. We're turning it and we're leaving at 7. I mean, we're not going to turn away business. I appreciate it, but manage your customers better. If they really want to buy this car, they'll be here at 4 o'clock. They'll come in on their day off. They can come in the morning. We can manage it over the phone. There's lots of ways to do this, and what you're doing ain't the way,
Yep.
Yeah. Where's your store located? I mean, I know you're in New Orleans, but tell us more about the neighborhood and what got you to choose that location.
New Orleans is like limited in real estate. We have like a lot of lakes and Mississippi River, and
y'all call those lakes.
Lake Pontchartrain, and it's just bayous, and so we're limited in space. Sure. We're not like a big. I think the greater New Orleans area, which includes multiple cities outside of New Orleans, we're like a little bit over 1 million people. So there's just limited space. So so I wanted to choose a spot in Jefferson Parish. That's the parish next to Orleans. We don't go by counties, parishes here. And so I found a spot on the west bank of New Orleans. It's in West Wego is the city name, but it's an awesome location. Like I'm the only dealership all anywhere around, and it's a big like you can see me coming from a mile away. All right, real nice place. I only have an acre, barely an acre of land, and so
Yeah.
to sell 60 something cars a month and service 60 something cars and have 18 employees and a back office and everything, and I'm just sitting on 1 acre of land. So looking to
Wow.
grow in the near future, but yeah. So
You got 18 employees, Bubba. What a kingdom you built, man. How amazing is that?
yeah. Well, look, being where I was, and I had all these people working for me. I've been a pretty good guy. Like I've been. No, really. I mean, some people are douchebags and
No doubt.
they have no following. Well, I've been a pretty decent guy, and I've treated people. I've lost jobs because I fought for employees. They didn't want to pay the bonus or whatever. I pay bonuses out of my own pocket. I've always like put my people before me. I as the leader, I work for the people. My job is to
Right.
am I giving them the tools to be successful? Am I doing enough advertising, marketing? So that's how I've always carried myself. So I got probably a waiting list of 10 people that kind of contact me routinely. Hey man, when you have a spot, well, so I got 3 managers and 7 salespeople, and I got four mechanics and 2 people in the back office, porter. So we have a really, really nice. I mean, it's just like a franchise setting. I have
Sure.
13 banks. I don't have every prime lender that a franchise would have, and I did all this. Look, this is month 15. Okay. 15 months ago, I had no employees, no banks, no floor plan, no inventory, and I kind of been just building and building and building and building and building to try to get back to what I used to do. I used to run big stores and things like that. Well, this is a big store. I'm very happy with the success we're having, but I'm looking for a new car franchise. I'm looking to open up another used car lot, and I'm looking just to keep growing. It's just because I feel as if I can, and then I have a lot of good momentum in the city of New Orleans. I got like a lot of people wanting to work with me.
Well, I want to touch on something. I've been talking a lot about this to people off camera, on camera, whatever. And you said something right there that I think is just ultimately important for the young people listening, for the guy that's been doing this 25 years, that's thinking, man, am I stuck in this rut? Am I an F&I manager forever? Which, I mean, all due respect, great job, right? I mean, no disrespect to it, but there are people sitting there making 25, 30 grand a month that are spinning paper for a living. That are thinking, hey, man, this is the worst place I could be because I should be somewhere else. Right. I think that's kind of where you're saying that you were in a great spot working for franchises, making good money. You got a following of people that are listening to you. You got a team, you're leading your place, you're doing everything that you think you can. The cards don't fall your way, right? Or the chips don't fall your way, so to speak. And then you think, man, what do I got to do? I got to do this thing on my own, right? And
Yeah.
so, what's the advice? What's the advice for that guy that's a finance director, a used car manager, a new car director that feels like they're being overlooked for that used car manager's job or for that GSM job? Can't get that GM spot from that GSM spot. Can't find the traction. Hadn't put the political capital together. I mean, there's a million reasons why people are getting passed up, right? They said something off color during a golf tournament and they don't want to let them go because they sell cars, but they don't want to promote them because they don't trust them. I mean, there's a million things why you couldn't get promoted. So how do you hit the all? I'll take a phrase from Bruce Miller Motors, man. How do you hit the gas and skip the brakes? It's all gas, no brakes, but I'm gonna put it in context for you.
Look, great question. It has to be like you have to believe in who you are. Okay, if you're around people who don't believe in you, it's going to be impossible to reach your potential because they are limiting you. You have to when you have sustained stints of success. I talk about this all the time. I talk about this for 20 years. And you put sustained stints of success, and you start saying, "Man, wait a second, I can do this. Wait a second, I'm just as good as that guy." You have to quickly surround yourself with people. Look, don't take the job that pays the best money, because the saying that the salary is the bribe that gets you to quit your dreams is true. You might get to a point where you're making too much money to go do. You might be a finance manager making 25,000 a month, which is an incredible income, but you're working 75 hours a week. You can't see your kids, and you really want to be a sales manager. You really want to be a GSM, but it's like, are you going to take the pay cut, or are you going to trust the process? And that's what I did. I ran this Chevy store in New Orleans, and we had like a cult following. For 6 years, we were 63-9. 63-9. Very competitive market. 5 dealerships within 50 miles. We won first place in the city 63 times. In that culture, we opened up 3 satellite used car locations. Not very uncommon for a franchise store to open up, but that's how well we did used cars. And it was always I've always been associated with the phrase "all gas no brakes" because it was always press, push. The bully don't take your lunch money because you're hungry. He takes your lunch money just because he can. So I always feel as if you can, you should. And we had this amazing culture, and I was the leader, and we promoted people off the sales floor. We started that job at they was doing 85 cars a month, new and used. During the course of me working there, we averaged 325. We averaged 225 used cars a month, and our high was 440. So it took a store from 85 to 440 in New Orleans. 440 is not a big number for Dallas, for Texas, for Houston, for other spots in the country. But for New Orleans, 440, we were the number one dealership, no matter the make. We sold the most cars, and it's hard for a Chevy store to beat Nissan and Toyota, but it was because of culture. When I did that, I left there and I got an opportunity to run 5 stores at one time. So I took that same culture, and in that 13 months I was with that organization, every one of those 5 stores had reached the all-time high, record in used cars. When I started, those 5 stores had like 30 people combined in the variable operations. And when I left, they had 80 people in the variable operations. I grew each one of those departments, hiring good people. And I got recruited away to be a managing partner, like lifelong dream. Somebody says, "Hey man, I'm gonna give you 20% of this store, 10% of that store." So I take the opportunity. A year later, the pandemic hits. We have some disagreements, and they let me go. Well, now at this point in my life, I know what it is to work for other people, and so I have to it's really like a faith-based story. I believe as if God spoke to me. He says, look back at these 4 or 5 stores, because there's 4 or 5 stores in the city of New Orleans. I walk in, I could jump behind a computer and work a desk. These guys love me. This is this is like my teams, but they're spread out over like 4 stores. And he says, all these people are benefiting off of your culture, how you treated people, the people you put in place, but you're not making a penny. You're terminated. You're not even making a penny. You're home making nothing. Pandemic is hitting. Everybody's making this record money. Everybody's killing it. I'm making nothing. So I said, man, I want to control my own destiny, and I want to be the head, not the tail, and I'm going to open my own used car lot. I
love that, man. I love that. So I'm going to jump back and dive back in. We met up at NADA. I think we met at a Capital One party at I think at Gilley's, waiting to see Weezer. And I was waiting on my team to show up. And then so I'm sitting there. And of course, Shy Steve, I just butt right into you and Frank from Car Guy Coffee Podcast. Shout out to those guys doing great work, man. Share the wealth, share the love. If you're listening to my show, man, go check their stuff out, because these guys do great stuff, great inspiration, good people, great guests. Go watch their podcast. They're good people. Car Guy Coffee. So you're sitting there, and I look over, and you guys just look cool. And I just walked over and I said, "Hey, listen, man, I'm bored, and I want to know what y'all are talking about." And y'all said, "Come on in, man." And so we started talking, and then you started telling me this tale. I said, "What do you do for a living?" And I'm waiting on anything from porter to owner of 5 million stores. You know what I mean? God only knows what you get there, right? So, and vendor, porter, whatever we want to call it, all the way up to owner of 50 million stores. And you said, "Man, I want an independent lot." And I was like, "Okay," because I've always connected with those guys. I've always been, listen, I love business, right? And the thing I love about business is that it's hard. And the thing I love about doing things that are hard is it makes you better. And so if you're willing to stretch out and get out of your comfort zone and willing to risk it for the biscuit, so to speak, put your money on the line, put your money where your mouth is, and get out there and drive forward and to build something just like we're doing here. I mean, this isn't easy. What you're doing over there, it isn't easy. And that's why we're doing it, because we were made to do the hard things, right?
Yep.
But I'm going to jump in. You're telling me, you said, "Hey, look, I got a story." You started telling me about this, your faith-based story. I loved it. Tell me how you went from, having your disagreements as a managing partner at these stores into making that leap. And I know some things in your life weren't going very well. I know you had some struggles through, personal situations like we all do in life. And so you're really at this place where you're really at a crossroads, I would say. Is that fair to say?
100%. I was at the top of my game. I was in my own backyard, and I was a partner in 2 stores. Like these guys, they recruited me. Man, we want to give you this Audi store. And I knew they had a Hyundai store too. And I said, look how stupid I was. I said, no, I don't want the Audi store. I want both, the Audi and the Hyundai store. Because I could bring that many people and fill them up. After a few weeks, they said, no problem, we'll give you both jobs. So I was at the top of my game. Anybody in management, GSM, manager, you want to be a managing partner. You want to get to that point where somebody's giving you a piece of pie.
Well, that's the reason for being there, right? That's the whole reason for being there. How do I get to be managing partner? How do I put my name on a sign with a franchise back in it?
If you're a cook, if you're a chef, if you're a lawyer, everybody wants to be a manager.
100%.
So and at that point in time, I've had a cancer journey. I've been having cancer since I was 35. So I'm like around 40 this time, 40, 41. It's a terminal cancer, so I got to deal with it. That's what the white hair is. This is not a fashion statement. This is just some medication that I'm on.
I thought it was just God shining sexy on you, buddy. I didn't know.
Yeah, no. So, I'm at this top of the game, top moment in my life. And before I know it, cancer comes back. Mm-hmm. Me and the wife not in agreeing on a lot of stuff, and the cancer, and we've been together since 18 years old. That's kind of falling apart. I lost the job. I have no job. Nobody's looking for a Bruce Miller, so to speak, because the car business is booming. I'm by myself. I'm in my garage. I don't know what the next step is going to be, And so I said, you know what? I felt like a prayerful nudge. I said, I'm gonna go open my own used car lot. I did get some job offers, right? And the job offers were, sure. I know we don't like to talk about money, but the job offers were good jobs. $400,000 a year.
Talk about whatever you want, man. Listen, I'm going to be honest. People say that we don't talk about money. I think we need to talk about it. And I'm not saying here, right in this spot, but look, there are the purpose of this whole thing, man, is to get young people in their careers into a place to know the things they know and to get those spots to move these guys into positions so that they're taken care of. I mean, I'm an advocate for salespeople like you, man. I care about the salespeople. The most god awful thing I ever heard was from one of my best friends, man. And he told me, he said, and I don't think he meant it this way, but he said, man, you got to treat salespeople like cattle. And I said, what? He said, man, you got to treat them like cattle. They're going to be here. They're not going to be here. You got to move them over there. You got to move them over here. You got to do this. You got to do that. And listen, man, I don't care about management. I don't care about F&I. I don't care about owners. I don't care about any of that. I'm going to be 100% with you. The salespeople are the lifeblood of everything in that dealership. 100%. They're also the cancer.
Yeah, they're probably
right? 100%. So if we don't get these guys to be the best they can be, to perpetrate and move forward the car business the way that it should be, man, then we're dead. We're going to kiosks, right? Let's save our business. Let's save our industry, right? And I know used cars aren't ever going to leave, and I know some franchises will never change this stuff and some of this, but man, why can't we just continue with the way that we're doing things, but make it better for everybody, the consumer, the dealer, the franchise, the salespeople, all that, right? And so I think that you're a guy that's doing that, which is why I was excited to have you on. But go ahead. I lost my train of thought coming back to you, but you were saying
it's treating salespeople like I don't had a salesperson work for me for 2 years. I promoted him, put him in management, and like a few weeks later, he says, "Man, this is completely different. There's so much pressure on me now as a salespeople can't do no wrong in my. I like him the captain forgiveness. Because it's hard. The customers lie. Sometimes managers are jerks. The banks, the this, the that, the economy. To sell a car is hard. It's not a simple task. You know what I'm saying? So I'm right. I'm easy on salespeople. So I'm like trying to figure out what I want to do. I get offered jobs around 400,000. Okay, that was less than what I was making, but to me, that was not at 41 years old, I knew what I was worth. I knew if I come to your store, it's like I'm bringing the circus. I got the bearded lady, I got the 3 rings, I got the tiger tamer. I have all that I'm bringing with you. $400,000 is not enough. And so it's hard to turn that job down when you have a kid in college, you have 2 in private school, you have 4 car notes, you have a mortgage. So I said, man, I'm
insurance, and you know what I mean? You got insurance for those folks, insurance for yourself just to pile on, right?
Go to MD Anderson with cancer stuff. So me taking the route of saying, man, I'm gonna go open my own used car lot was like a brave thing. I can say it now. It really might have been more insane than it was brave. I find 2 gentlemen who have an independent lot and they sell 18 cars a month, and I say, hey, can I come bring my circus here, teach me the independent world. I'm gonna leave and open my own business, but I'm gonna help you all along the way. They agreed to it, and that lot was selling 18. 90 days later, we hit 45. All time high.
Mm.
We averaged 45 at that lot to this day. As I say, okay, man, this is what I can do this. It's not that much different from the franchise world. I start looking for a building and stuff like that. As I'm making my exit from that location, they offer me to buy 25% of that used car lot. So now I have like two incomes, and I open up my used car lot, and it's just like and then when you get to the end of 2022, I had the best financial year of my life, right? But man, it wasn't supposed to be like that. Like I had to like better myself. I had to know what my value was, and I had to work hard. I worked every deal for the first 6 months of being open. Now I have managers that work deals for me. I had 3 banks in the beginning. Now I had a $600,000 line of credit. Now I have $1.8 million line of credit. Everything is like a process that I had to, you're getting given this, and you got to do good with this, and you can get more. But if you drop the ball here, you're not going to get no more.
Right.
And so now I could look back and tell my story, and I had a cancer emergency surgery in the end of the 2020 year to remove a tumor. I'm in the hospital, and I'm like trying to like see if my bid on the piece of real estate got accepted as soon as I get out of recovery, because I put the bid before it went in. I'm still holding on to the dream. I'm still, ups and downs, kind of like things are hitting me, and it's like I could have stopped 10 times, but I had faith in God that I was in the will of God, and I was on. This is what He wanted me to do. And when you realize what you're worth, and you realize the will of God, it's all gas, no brakes from there. When the doors open, you jump through the doors because you done prayed for it.
You're damn right. Listen, that's maybe one of the greatest things I've heard in a while, because it's so simple and it's so true. When God opens those doors up, man, and they're ready to go, and you accept that vibration, that blessing, and you hit it, it's all gas, no brakes, like Bruce said. You also mentioned something that I really want to talk about. You said, when I find out who I am, right? When I find out who Bruce Miller was, right? I had to find out what Bruce Miller was. What is Bruce Miller, man? What's Bruce made of? What makes Bruce Miller be able to take the things you've learned, the lessons you've learned, the person you are, the adventures you've taken, make this business and grow it? And what makes you unique? What's your differentiator? I mean, obviously it seems like the way you treat people, that's a thing. And I think that the natural flow of the way that you speak to people is phenomenal, man. I think you've got a really easy way of being around you. It's no question why you sold so many cars. But if you had to give me a recipe to make Bruce Miller, what do you think those things are?
Well, when you know who you are, right? You're not ashamed to say where you come from or what you. I think some period in my life, I was trying to pretend or not say as much about my past. My mom had me at 15 years old. Until I was 12 or 13, I was the only white kid in every neighborhood I grew up in. I grew up in the hood. My mom and dad are alcoholics. My dad killed himself when he was 25. I didn't talk about those things when I worked for other people. But these last 2 years, I've been able to talk about that freely on my Facebook page, talk about because I don't have to like try to pretend to be something else. And since I've done that, then so many doors have opened up, so many podcasts, interviews, and I've been able to share. Like I'll post sometime on my Facebook about my childhood, and man, people are messaging me like for a week. Man, that really touched me. I needed to hear that, So it was hard. Like I didn't really get a lot of love. My mother at 15, she don't really know how to love. My dad was older than her and not a good person at all. So I had to like kind of like fend for myself. Didn't make it through high school. But at 20 years old, I was, girl I was dating, pregnant, I got married. I stood up, I did the right thing, and just been always trying to do the right thing ever since then, get into the car business. Everybody goes to the strip clubs on Friday nights, this, that, sleeping with the receptionist, but never done none of that, no, never done none of that. I never.
Good for you.
Yeah, I never done none of that. I would not even have a friend, a girl, like a work friend girl. No, I was trying to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? So like pushing to do the right thing, pushing to be as good as I possibly could be. I kind of realized because I started going to church at the same time I got in the car business. And when you're in the church and they're talking about you can be the head, not the tail, these blessings are for you. So I went to work with this irrational confidence that, if you can do it, I can do it. I'm in church 3 days a week. God's got my back. His favor is It's not fair. And I rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And it's not because like I tried to rub them the wrong way. It's because I had this irrational confidence and I believed I should be right there with you. I don't care if you didn't invite me to the table with a seat. I'm gonna bring my own chair and I'm gonna bring my own table because because I think that I'll bring that to the table. So it's a lot of stuff that made me who I am. The cancer was another thing. It was like I'm rolling along. I'm at this Chevy store. We rocking and rolling. We're talking to town, running New Orleans. Anybody looking for a job, I was like Nick Saban. I got an interview with every 5-star recruit because they was gonna come. They wanted to be a part of that Chevrolet. I didn't get them all, but we was building something real special. And all of a sudden, 35 years old, I got hit with this cancer, and it's a terminal diagnosis. Very, very sketchy. Don't know the details. Only 5,000 people a year get diagnosed with it. I had a one-year-old daughter. So you said like what makes me? I can't give nobody a recipe to be like to turn out like me because it's a nasty recipe. It's a lot of overcoming obstacles, a lot of pressing, a lot of pushing, and just a lot of faith in God. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's got me here today, Steve, is my faith in God. And when I realized who I am because of Him, I am this man because of Him. You kind of have a look. Something bad happens now. I laugh at it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to overcome this, just like I overcome the last 10 things, like with God.
Yep. I think one of the things that part of what makes you were talking about your irrational confidence in yourself, right? That's what sort of separates the wheat from the chaff is that undying faith in God, and then you having that confidence in yourself. And obviously that's going to rub people the wrong way, but you know what? Being timid is going to rub people the wrong way. Being weak is going to rub people the wrong way. Being soft is going to rub people the wrong way. So obviously the opposite of that is going to rub people the wrong way too. Being strong, confident, independent, ready to go, all gas, no brakes, hitting the thing, trying to find the limit and then get past that so you can get to another level. Hell, that's hard.
Yeah.
Right. And doing hard things is what we do. If you're in management in the car business, especially if you're in executive management, if you've made it that GSM level, if you're sitting in those money meetings, you've done something difficult. And that's who part of this audience is, man, is that we're connecting people to the stories so we can find out what makes us and then what makes us successful in this business. And when I say successful, I think you and I both know that success doesn't live and die on the numbers on the board, on the appointments, on the gross, on the front, on the back, how many deals you put up, how many cars you pushed out. Successful, I think, really comes down to who you are as a man, how you treat your employees. Are you able to manage employees? Go. Yeah,
your character. Like how many
That's
times?
it.
Like I never quit a job. Maybe once or twice in my 23-year career, but it was for a massive like better opportunity. Like you can't not
right.
That quitting. I've been in situations where I was making less than I should have. I seen the other dude's pay plan when I took the seat, but I gave my best every day. I learned and I stayed the course. I never did things the wrong way, right? So if you're around a bunch of people, everybody does the wrong things the wrong way, or they cheat on their wives, or this or that, they just gonna cheat on you too. They're gonna mess up with you too. So perseverance is one thing, not quitting and going through the tough times. Man, in this day and age, especially these younger people, man, it's a little tough. They quit. And I think back, I said, my God, if I'd have quit, I could think of jobs that I had that were learn that job, not quitting. I learned lessons that like
hit the brakes on me for a sec. Can you hear me? Had jobs. Let's hit the brakes. Are you there, pal? Can you hear me, brother? We'll cut back into this. Hey, Bruce, you there?
Yes.
Okay, we came back. So I lost you for a second. So I'll edit this back in. I'll say, hey, I lost you, and I'll bring us back. Go back into where I've had jobs where, if you can remember from where you were there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we lost We lost Bruce for a second, but now we're back. Thanks for the patience. Here we go. Bruce, you were saying that you had jobs and you lost them, and I think we cut out there, but run on that because I was enjoying what you were saying.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is I've had jobs that were like brutal. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like misrepresent, like not making the right money, but putting on these hours. But I never quit those jobs. And in a time when I was like just kept pressing forward, I didn't know that there was one time I got to be a used car director in this organization. It was like a young used car director. And man, I was learning to go to the auction. I was learning so much. I wasn't being paid the numbers we was putting up. And I never quit. I just stayed the course. Not too long after that, I got to be a GSM of a big store. And I had great new car experience and I had used car experience. And I you know what I'm saying? I had that I brought with me that maybe I didn't make the right money in that job, but
right.
parlayed it into the right job, and I made the most money I made in my life at that time. If I would have quit that job because over a couple of dollars, I may have never got that next job. And
that's a giant lesson. That's a giant lesson. You know, in our business, there's no apprenticeship, right? You don't come be the apprentice GSM for 6 months, but really you do. Right. Because there really is an apprenticeship. It's that underpaid job. It's that pay cut into management. You know, when you're making 20 or 25 grand on the floor and you're a stud out there and they say, hey, you want to be a manager? Say, yeah, that's all I've been working for. That's why I've been wearing these suits in the heat. That's why I've been dressing like you outside, you know, selling Suburbans in 115-degree swamp weather. Of course, I want to be a manager. And they go, great. The job pays $5 grand a month. And you go, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you still want to be a manager? Do you still want to sit on that desk? Because there's a pathway to that.
Yeah. I promoted a lot of people and we said, look, here you go. It's $6 grand a month.
Yep.
You know, you'll make a little bit more if you do this or that. But look, you're going to cost me more than you're going to make me being a rookie manager.
Right.
We'll relook at your pay plan in 6 months. Do you still want to be in management? And more often than not, man, people took that. And then, you know, 3 months later, we changed the pay plan. 4 months, we're growing. You know, you're exactly right. You know, I'm just saying that how I got to where I am, I ain't quit.
And that's a giant thing, man. And if there's a takeaway, I think that's it. If you want to get to wherever you got to go, right? Whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, stay the course. Don't quit. Do it with integrity, character, spirit. Do it with everything you can. Act as if you've got that top job. Do the right thing. Treat people fairly and move forward, man. And you'll find your way in there.
The doors will open. A lot of times,
of course they will.
A lot of times I sit and talk with people and I'm like, oh, I was looked over and I was this and that. You know, when you dissect their career path and you look at the 6 months at this job and 9 months at this job, and I'm thinking, I want to say, that's why you didn't get the promotion. You can't stay the course. You keep quitting, and you know, man, everybody wants the big pay plan, but I want a pay plan that's fair. At the store that I can make the most impact in, you know? So if I say, hey man, I'm gonna pay you XYZ, come run this for me, and you do the same numbers that I've been doing, you're not as good as you're saying you are. So and when people get faced with that, they get that job, they've been on 6 months and they can't make the impact, they can't make the money because they're not good enough. That's exactly why they can't improve the numbers, because they're not good enough. They quit, they go somewhere else, and they're not good enough there, they're not good enough there. If they would just stay at one of those first jobs and got better, read more books, tried hard, then they would not have to keep bouncing around. You know, you can't get to like a crowning achievement type career without perseverance.
That's it. Perseverance. You know, part of the thing I think, you know, one of the, you hit it when you see the bounce. And look, I bounced. I had a home for 12 years. I was at a very beautiful store for many years. I had great mentors, taught me a ton, let me be free. I mean, this is a great place that I was fortunate enough to find a pathway into. I spent a lot of time there. And when I left that store, because I thought that I wasn't getting what I wanted, right? I didn't see. I was young. I was myopic. I thought, hey, I know everything. I've got this. I'm a stud, baby. I'm a stud. I know what I'm doing. Let me move on and go somewhere else. And then you learn a couple of things about yourself. For one, you might not be as good as you think you are. Mm-hmm. For two, you might be as good as you think you are, but you got a hell of a lot to learn to prove that. Right. Three, you might be as good as you think you are, but only because you had the support of those people that were pulling you up out of the bucket.
The system you was in.
supported the ideas and the way that I thought. And so when you realize that all systems ain't the same, you go from a store, you go to another store. Now, this was in management early in my career. As a salesperson, I was steady Eddie all the way through. The first time I won the GM President's Award, and you got to sell the cars, you got to have the CSI, you get the ring, you get the box to put your business cards in. You feel amazing. But listen, I don't know anybody at all that has a President's Award from General Motors or the Red Award or whatever it's called for Toyota or whoever, whatever, every manufacturer's got their thing. Yeah. I don't know anybody that's got those that didn't spend 2 years in a store.
Right.
3 years in a store. You get those as a result of earning a client base and spending the time to collect and the numbers that'll come with you, right? And that's what it takes to get there.
Yeah. You got to persevere. You got to like keep pressing, and again, you got to learn from your mistakes. Like I said, this world rewards impact players. If you can go into and make an impact, you're going to get the pay. I took jobs before, barely even negotiate the pay plan because this was a great job for a great company. My career was taking a step forward, and I just took whatever they gave me because in my mind, I said, in 90 days, I'm gonna be able to ask whatever I want. And that exactly happened. And it was a beautiful thing, So it takes time in your life to get to that point where you're betting on yourself and you know what you can do. But man, if you can ever get there, it's awesome because
yeah.
Like you're not living for that paycheck. You're living for you know what you bring to the table,
Yeah, and you're working at an opportunity to come. If that's not the one. But you got to grind through that opportunity to get to the real one, right?
Yep.
I mean, who knows who's coming through that store? Let's say you go work for ABC Motors, man, and this place isn't the place, but you're making the money and your life's well enough that you can balance it. Let's assume you're not working in hell, right? I mean, we've all worked in hell. I mean, I know I've worked in stores that I thought, man, what did I step into? This is literal hell. I got to get out of here, because ethics, because of morals, because the way they treat people, because the way they treat other people, even though they treat you like you're part of the boys club or whatever. Listen, just because you're in the boys club doesn't mean that's the club to be in, man. I mean, there's some places that are literal hell. And if you're not working in hell, you're working in a place you can tolerate, where there's some good people you can surround yourself on. Maybe you start a group within that's got a community that you're building, and you can find some value wherever you are. That's the thing I think about you. I think you found value. Judging on your Facebook pages, you seem to want to build value in the community for your business and make that a place where you're a resource to people, not just some access to selling something, right? Like, I bought from Miller because he got a blue truck I like, right? You want to become a thing where people are like, I bought it at Miller Motors because I know Bruce. I know what he does in the community. I met Bruce at church. I know his family. I know his daughter. And when you become an asset to the community, then you've got a business.
Correct.
Right? Then you've got something valuable.
A sustainable business that can grow. And, if you're just here for the smash and grab, just for the transaction, you're not going to grow.
Hey, it's available. The smash and grab's available. I mean, people come and go with it every day, right? But it doesn't mean it's good for me, and it's definitely not good for you. I know that.
Yep.
It's not good for our children, right? It's not good for my daughter, but for your daughter, for my son. It's not good for any of that. So I want to ask you a question, man. I put some polls up on the internet, and I asked some people to ask me some questions they might want to ask you. And some of these were some ideas that I had, and some of them weren't. But let me ask you a question. What are some strategies and processes that your dealership has in place that you feel are major differentiators from you and the other folks in your dealership or other folks in the community that are selling used cars or new cars, right? Why Miller Motors? And not specifically Miller, but why did you build your business this way, in a way that it differentiates itself?
Well, one thing is I spend $20-something thousand a month in advertising. Being a brand new business, and mostly digital marketing, and I knew I had to get the word out there. Like, I had to start from scratch, So I'm competing against other used car lots that have been in business for 10 years, 20 years, 15 years. Their name's been out there. They got all the kinks worked out on their website. Every day I'm adding something new. So I spend the money in advertising because it's like, I know what I'm looking for. Steve, I want to have Miller Motors sell 100 cars a month. When I was managing franchise stores, I would say, man, if your used car lot's not doing 100 cars a month, you're doing something wrong. And almost everywhere I worked, we hit 100. 100 cars was the number. So
that's the minimum. Yeah.
So start from scratch. So I think 90 last April or last May. That was my high, but I averaged 62. So another reason why you would want to buy or come deal with Miller Motors, or something I put in place, is I hire good people. My staff is full of great people. My finance director was not even in the business. We go to church together. He's the music minister at our church, and I've been teaching him the business the last 2 years, from a salesperson to sales manager to now finance manager. He's a really good person. I have 3 kids. I say kids, they're 22, 23, 24-year-old. That I used to coach them in travel baseball when they were 9 and 10 and 11, and I'm teaching them the business. So we have like good people, it's not like snake type of situation, so when you come here, we have good people. I'm an active owner. I'm on the showroom floor. I'm gonna shake your hand. I'm gonna give you my cell phone. My cell phone number is everywhere. It's on the website. It's on my Facebook page. It's on my LinkedIn profile. I don't hide from nothing, So I want all the smoke. I want all the problems.
You heard it here, folks. Give Bruce all the smoke, baby.
I want it all. So the business that I built up is like transparent, good people, and doing things the right way. I bought 10 cars back last year because the motor failed outside of the warranty parameters. Before we got, I had to step in and pay $5,000 out of my own pocket. That was the only way to fix the problem. Instead of saying, "No, man, you're out, take me to court." I never.
Used car, buddy. Brakes in both halves. You own both halves, right? Yeah.
Never, none of that. Never been to court. Sold almost 1,000 cars in my 16 months that I've been open, and I've just done the right thing. And it cost me, every one of those transactions cost me, $5, $6, $8,000. The profit from that transaction, unwinding the deal. But I'm always going to do what's right. My employees working here. They value working for they're good people, and they want to do right by the customers because I treat them right. I'm not, holidays, I give them holiday pay, give them a little holiday bonus. I'm a brand new company. I have health insurance. I know people that have independent used car lots. They've been in business for 10 years, don't offer health insurance to their employees. They want to pay their employees below the table so they don't have to pay payroll taxes. I'm paying $25,000 a month in payroll taxes. I have health insurance. So I do all that to make a great company. So good people want to work here, and then we can serve the community better. So that's one thing that we have, trying to build something from scratch, but doing it the right way.
You mentioned you got a lot of money going out in digital marketing. Like where, listen, there's other guys that are starting dealerships that want to do this. Let's help them. Right. So where are you spending that money at, and where do you find ROI at in this digital marketing age? Like, is it direct Facebook ads? Obviously there's the car gurus, the auto traders, but where are you finding success at that maybe others might not be thinking about?
I'm on all the Car Guru, Auto Traders, Cars.com, Carfax listings, pretty much the entry level, or maybe one package up on all those, because you got to get your product out there, your vehicles out there. I spend $12,000 a month with a digital marketing company, a company that I've been using, Click Here Digital, for the last 9 years. When I bounced
Click Here Digital.
Yeah. When I was at the Chevy store, we was 63-9, came in first place, 63 months out of 9. That was my marketing company. When I went to the Ray Brand organization and ran those 5 stores, there was a Nissan store that 13 years in a row, every single month, 13 years in a row, they never came in first place because the competing Nissan store was at the other side of the town, where there should have been 2 Nissan stores, but they only had 1. So they had surplus of customers in 13 years. And when I interviewed for the job, I told Mr. Brand, God rest his soul, an amazing man. He died not too long ago. When I interviewed for the job, I said, man, I think we can beat Premier Nissan. And he was like, okay. And so 90 days in, 13 years, 13 times 12 was 150 months in a row. But 3 months in, we beat him in first place. And 4 times in that 14 months, not just because Click Here Digital, but that's kind of like I had put a plan in place and we attacked, So I know the value of spending. You have to spend ad dollars. You can't be afraid.
Okay.
So $12,000 a month, half of that's on Facebook, half of that's on SEM, SEO. No, not SEO, SEM, but what? Get you a good digital marketing company, put your name out there, build you a good website, price all the cars according to market, not what you want to make on it. Merchandise all your cars with great pictures, great banners, So that's what we've been able to accomplish really quickly. And like I said, the business is growing, the business is building. Floor plans are growing. I'm getting more opportunities. I have talking to a few starting to talk to some people about new car franchises, maybe like a rural franchise, something I can afford. Thinking about opening up another used car lot here shortly after this tax time. So a lot of stuff happening in that direction. But
In
advertising
the
a lot,
Bruce Miller Motor area, yeah.
yeah,
Man, that's amazing. I love what you got going on. I want to ask you another question about you keep going back to people. And that's part of what attracted me to you as a human. I was like, this guy cares about people. And that's what I love. I love people. That's why I do this. I want to be able to reach out, talk to as many people as I possibly can. I want to be able to expand my network and meet people that love people. I want to hear the stories in the car business. I want to hear about the dealers that do the blood drives. If you've got a story, I'm going to give out this selfless plug all of a sudden. But if you've got a story and you're a dealer, man, and you're doing something special, or you got a special employee that needs to be showcased, man, call me. My numbers are on the internet, 512-409-8118. I'm easy to find. You call me anytime about anything. And that goes for anybody doing anything interesting. I want to hear about it because we need to bring the good people of this business to the forefront, right? Because what drives the world? In advertising, there's two ways to look at this stuff. This is what they call it. When I used to sell mail, I worked for a company called Fresh Beginnings. We did a lot of stuff in the car business, sold a lot of direct mail, right? When you're selling direct mail, there's two advertising theories, right? There's heaven and hell. You ever heard about this? So heaven and hell, right? There's two ways to sell something. It takes 7 or 8 times the amount of volume and touches to sell what's called heaven. And that's the good thing. And that's saying something like this. Hey, it's better for you to change your oil every 3,000 miles because it's healthier for your car. That's a good way of advertising, right? I mean, it is better to do that. We all know that.
Yep.
There's also the other way of selling it, and that's this. If you don't change your oil today, your car might blow up, right? And so there's two ways to sell it. One's fear, one's hope, right? One's fear, one's information. So when we're talking about all this stuff, man, we want to get the good stuff out. And so it's going to take time to really get those great dealers, guys like you, Bruce, that are doing good work in the community, that are treating employees right, that are building good businesses, that are paying taxes in the community, that are providing jobs for people, right? People need jobs, man. Like you're responsible for bringing people up. I love that you're bringing your church worship ministry in there to become an F&I guy. What a change, right? What a change. But what a great story. And now you're promoting somebody's life from doing the good work they were doing into providing themselves with a great living, I would assume. I mean, I know what you guys are selling. I know what that job pays selling that kind of cars. I'm assuming you pay people great because you got a great team. But that bleeds right into one of the other questions somebody asked what are the ingredients that you're looking for in an employee when you're hiring them?
I'm looking for a good person that's teachable and willing to like follow the script. Look, sometimes in this business, you may be too humble or maybe you're too braggadocious, but in every sense of the word, I consider myself a variable operations expert. Just my skills on the wall, things that I've accomplished the last, in my career. So I want somebody that's going to come work for me, that's going to follow the script. Hey man, post on Marketplace. Hey man, do this. Man, watch the Andy Elliott training videos. Hey, do all this before noon. Grow your personal Facebook page. Accept as many friends as you can. Post a couple times a day on your page. If somebody will just follow that script, they're going to be successful. So
Yep.
I like having veterans that have owner bases and things like that, because it's like easy,
Sure.
That I pick those guys up all the time, but I'm not afraid to start a rookie from scratch. But they got to be willing to work. They got to be willing to like put the work in, and they got to want it. Have a desire. I want somebody who has some bills. Has a desire and needs it.
I sure hope whoever I'm hiring has some debt under their belt, right? Because I really love a hungry guy.
or a young person with aspiration. Wanting to be.
That's it.
Yeah. So that's I think that's what I was. I was a young person with like a lot of aspiration, and and so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for I'm fully staffed, but when I do look for people, that's what I'm looking for,
I love that, man. I love that. Well, I mean, listen, it sounds like you're going to need a hell of a lot more employees whenever you get that rural point or whenever you build these other 2 or 5 or 10 or 15 or 500 car dealerships. I mean, listen, 10 years from now, man, I could see Miller Auto Group being one of the Asbury's, baby, because you got the talent, you got the stuff, you're all gas, no brakes. You've been a great guest too, man. I loved having you on the show. I loved hearing your story. I'd love for you to come back And but we want to respect everybody's time, and I want to respect yours. It's Super Bowl Sunday, baby.
Yep,
Super Bowl Sunday. Who's your pick, man? Because this is airing after Super Bowl Sunday. So who's your pick? What do you got?
The Saints. That's my pick. The Saints.
Okay.
The Saints.
Oh, I knew that, bro.
I like winners. I like legacy. So I like the Patriots.
He said, "I like winners, baby."
Patrick Mahomes. I'd like him to win his second Super Bowl. He's been in the first 5 years of his career the most amazing quarterback stats and MVPs, and I like him to win. You know, I think the Eagles are a really, really young, really, really awesome team. But I can't cheer for them because they have too many ex-Saints in their team, and I want
Yo, I didn't. You didn't strike me as a guy that holds a grudge, Bruce. But I guess that's how we'll end it, right?
In sports, I'm loyal to a fault, man.
All right. In sports, I got it. Bruce, tell us where we can find you at, man. What's the website to the dealership in case you want to peruse inventory, or we got a local out of New Orleans wants to buy something, or somebody listening on here. Listen, I imagine you ship cars all over the country, don't you?
Yeah. I got anything from a $6,000 car to I got $170,000 2022 G-Wagon. So I got a little bit.
That's it. Well, and all. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's MillerMotorsWestBank.com. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Bruce Miller. I use all that social media platforms probably more than most people. And like I said, anybody sees this and has a question, or look, I freely help people. All the time. I just kind of give back because I know where I'm trying to go. I need as much goodwill as possible. I need to be a good person to get to certain breaks. Somebody with $30 million and say, "Hey, Bruce, let's go open up 4 dealerships."
I love that.
I need to put
Hey, man, maybe they're on here. Maybe they're listening. We've got a wide array of people that are listening. This channel is growing. I want to, honestly, I want to thank everybody that's been listening and watching. It's been amazing, man. I mean, this is what, 3 weeks in, and we're growing, at a wild pace. And so, we want to take over, like Bruce wants to take over the used car business, man, and the new car business. We want to take over the podcast space. I want to be the number one show in the automobile industry. I want to bring inside information. I want to bring the truth, transparency about what's happening in this business. I want to bring great stories to the air. And I want to be a place where people can come and say something great and share their experiences and their story. And so if that's you, man, you want to reach out to me, 512-409-8118. If you want to talk to Bruce Miller, you know where he's at Miller Motors in New Orleans, man. What a great show. Guys, thank you so much.
My cell phone number is 504-615-9297. Anybody can call.
That's awesome, guys. Hey, man, much love. Thanks for watching the Steve Fusil Show. You want to stay on, Bruce?
Yeah, so
we'll just end it there.